This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa! You're not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rat smack! Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about Disney magic without the pixie dust. I'm Nathan, and with me today are Dave.
Get off my lawn.
Get off Dave's lawn, everybody. Janine.
Aloha.
Aloha. Jeanine comes from Hawaii right now.
Yes.
She's in the glorious... No, she's in Tampa.
I
which is
had
still
like
very
100
nice.
different international greetings rattling around, and that's the one that fell out.
She is the small world of greetings. And then Sarah,
Hello.
coming from the West Coast. How are you today?
Good. Surviving.
Surviving. I know that feeling very
Ain't that
well.
a mood?
For those who know the seasons, school is almost up for universities. I'm almost on my summer break.
Oh, right. You're in the
And-
last stretch.
Yep, time to fail some suckers, I'll tell you that. Happily. No, I'm kidding. I don't happily do it. And I don't fail anybody. As I always tell my students, I never fail anyone. You fail yourselves. It's true. Speaking of people who have failed us, perhaps Jeanine, and hopefully I'm not as bad as this guy, perhaps Jeanine would give us a little bit of an update on good old Governor Ron DeSantis and his Reedy Creek special legislative session, which today we got some news on that as well.
Yeah, this is well outside the world of rumor. This is passing the state legislature at
House and Senate.
House and Senate. It is moving to the governor's desk for him to sign. And in the way of rumors, there's one thing that I'm going to clear up that I think has been rolling around, but they are, I'm sure people are aware, but Reedy Creek is Disney's mini city, basically, where they pay out of pocket to cover their utilities and their sewer and their fire department, their roads. They can build whatever roads they want. They pay basically a premium to maintain the Disney area to their own standards.
And they still pay taxes.
And they still pay taxes. So they pay the standard taxes, and then they also tax themselves to maintain the city, the Disney World city, to its own standards. This was established in 1968. And for whatever reason, DeSantis has decided that it is a political win to strip Disney of this privilege and shift that burden of maintaining Disney's property to the taxpayer in retaliation, overt retaliation for their withdrawal of support and their stance against the Don't Say Gay bill. Yeah, the thing that I want to clear up is some people are saying, and I think even Disney's lawyers may have thought that they were in the clear because there's some provision in the law that the residents of the district have to vote. But I just read today a thread from a journalist who looked into it, and because they never voted to establish it, there is no vote required to eliminate it. So it's just they're killing Reedy Creek.
I still don't think it's going away.
Yeah,
I
I
really
mean,
don't.
Did you see that? Well, did you see that it explicitly states that RCID can be in the bill that says it can be removed. It establishes that it can be reinstated the same day it's dissolved.
Yes,
which is more than a year away.
Right.
It's
So
after
like
It's
midterms.
legislative blackmail is what this is. It's legislative
it is.
blackmail.
This is well, and it's blackmail in the service of gerrymandering. Like he's
Yes.
doing this to redistrict things and disenfranchise black voters and a bunch of other stuff.
This is very much a look over here, don't look at what I'm doing over here situation.
yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't even think it'll go through. I mean, he may sign
can't.
it, but
What is the benefit? There's
None.
like, what is this punishment? You deprive Disney of their autonomy by shifting $1 billion in
debt.
taxes and debt to taxpayers in two counties.
Yeah,
Right,
$2 billion of debt gets taken off of Disney.
Off of Disney. Like, I mean, it's a lose for everybody. Like, the city becomes responsible for maintaining Disney.
Mm-hmm.
But arguably, Disney makes out better than the state. And so
Yeah.
unless you are just individually Ron DeSantis or another Republican who's running on this, this hurts you. This is not in the interest of people. Right. It's not resolving some injustice. It's literally just blind retribution.
Right. And even within the industry, it's acknowledged that it ain't perfect. There are things that could and probably should change, but you got to have a plan in place before you change it. But the benefit beyond the Disney, what Disney benefits from, because they do benefit from it, and they pay a lot for that privilege. Beyond that, though, beyond the ridiculous political posturing of this and the financial strain it's going to put on Floridians, which it's going to, the dissolution of the RCID stops the development of over 50 years of world-class industry safety standards that have been developed. And in the bubble of the unprecedented scale and scope of Walt Disney World, that is worth so much money and so much industry benefit, because a lot of the things that are created in terms of safety standards at Walt Disney World ripple out and are adopted globally by other countries and other companies. And that only happened because of the rarefied air that is the bubble of the Reedy Creek Improvement District. And getting rid of that and Disney doesn't benefit from those. They don't have yes, they have patents on things, but it's not like they have a hold on the industry safety standard, thing. It's just that the things that they've been able to show the world how to do at a scale that is unprecedented is invaluable. And that just poof goes away.
Yeah. But also like Disney still owns the land. It's not like the city can suddenly rent out, and it's not like there's going to be a Circle K across from the Magic Kingdom tomorrow. Like, it's nothing. Like, in theory, like, people are getting really upset, and there's good reason to get really upset. It is clearly, it's authoritarian, and it's not. I don't even think it's about the Don't Say Gay bill at all. I think it's entirely about there being no political donations coming out of Disney at the moment. And now the government. I mean, DeSantis says, "Well, I'm not going to make any money off these guys, so I might as well start a culture war." I want to be very clear about something, though. This is something I said on Twitter today, which is, if you want to blame anyone, you can blame Ron DeSantis if you want, but I would rather blame Bob Chapek, because Bob Chapek could have done the right thing the right time the first time.
Yep.
Everyone would have been, this is Disney par for the course. There would have been a little grumbling on conservative radio, and that'd been it. But he backed up, he showed weakness, and if there's one thing we know about the GOP is if they smell blood, they go for it. And he showed that Disney had some sort of institutional weakness about their own culture, and they went, okay, great, we can use it, and we can make a culture war out of this. Disney still has a better popularity rating than Ron DeSantis in Florida. It also, there's 70,000 people employed by Disney, and he won the election by 30,000 people. Like, it's a stupid move, like, overall, but it's a way, to make headlines. And this is solely because of Chapek's leadership that we got to this point. I'm not blaming him for DeSantis' actions. That's on DeSantis and the GOP, but I will blame him for setting a table for this kind of thing to happen.
I've heard debate on that. Even people go, oh, the GOP still would have gone for it. But I think you're right in that had they shown some backbone, the chatter on the right would have been a lot more fringe.
Yeah,
it would have been less targeted at Disney. It would be more diffuse. It would be all these different entities are speaking out against this theoretical bill, and they had their say before, but by waiting until it had already passed to say something, it sort of just kicks the bee's nest. It's already done, so they can't argue about it. There's no wiggle room. It's done, so they have to dig in. If they had spoken up sooner, it's possible that some sort of change could have been made to it. But because it's past the point of being changed, they just have to double down.
So to your point of Jeanine about it, that they that the approval of the district voters doesn't matter. Is that because I've read both sides of that? Evidently, the senator whose district includes Disney has kind of spoke with Disney, confirmed it. Is that so? What happened?
Yeah, so it was someone who's a reporter at WFTV in Orlando who said that he researched this, talked to lobbyists, lawyers, and tax officials, and said that let's see, I'll find the direct quote. Lawyers largely agree that the state followed all the laws while doing this. They agree Disney may sue, but probably doesn't have much ground to stand on. Some believe a vote of residents or delegates from the district is required to make this legal. That doesn't appear to be the case here because a vote was never held to implement the district 55 years ago. So that's the understanding of this journalist after talking to a bunch of people about it. So I don't know. I would imagine that Disney's lawyers would maybe know better. And so if Disney's lawyers have said that that's the case.
Like, if they take it to court, what county does it go to? Because if it goes to Orange County or Osceola, Disney wins. This is the long-holded thing about all orange counties and Disney is when they have any sort of suit that goes against Disney and it's done locally. I mean, Disney holds so much sway in that county that
because with law, there's only so much a judge can do. Even
Correct.
if they agree.
That's true.
So like in a sense, like if the law is cut and dried and super clear and it's possible there's a world where they genuinely don't have a leg to stand on.
Right. That doesn't sound like Disney lawyers though. Not even.
No. But I mean, this did go in before Disney even went into existence. You know, this was in 1968.
Right.
That this was hashed out. So was it as ironclad in 1968 as we would hope it is in 2022? It remains to be seen.
I would assume for the normal guest to Disney property, you're probably not going to see that much of a change. There's still going to be fire departments no matter who runs them there. Yeah, There's still going to be I don't think this is necessarily a thing that is going to affect the guest experience per se.
The main way, and this is very silly, that a guest-facing experience might be altered is road maintenance. Disney, you will never see a pothole on Disney property, but you will see potholes on city property, county property. So things like that. Because Disney, the whole thing is Disney has higher standards than the city.
Mm-hmm.
So will Disney not be able to still maintain those roads and like that infrastructure without this law?
I think it probably depends on the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what would be considered public and what would be considered private at that point.
Yeah, I think previously they were all private, like in the little ecosystem. But maybe now it's just like the parking lots. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to imagine because it's like they built it.
Yeah, I would like to go back 5 years ago and place a large bet that Reedy Creek would be, if I wore a Reedy Creek shirt, it would be a political statement. That sounds like absolute nonsense. Well, from our poor Reedy Creek, and we'll of course have more updates on that coming. So that might be closing. We don't know, but you know what's opening this Wednesday? Well, that would be the Epcot Connections Cafe, which has recently had a preview. And Dave, would you like to tell us a little bit about the Connections Cafe and your thoughts on the Connections Cafe?
Yeah, I think that transition, I was tempted to go, well, anyway, here's that Connections Cafe. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. You know, it's it's basically that. So I've watched some of the videos and photos that people have posted of this much lauded new eatery in Future World at Epcot. There are very divided views on it. I will reserve my opinion mostly until I see it, but mostly until after I talk about what other people are saying. Some people are loving it, saying it's very contemporary and modern and cool and very comfortable. Other people are saying, I think somewhat rightfully so, that it looks like an airport, food court. It's a very nicely appointed airport food court, but it is that. And I actually don't think that's necessarily the slam that people think it is, because putting on my designer and industry cap for a minute, like the whole point of eateries at Epcot were that from the beginning were that all of Future World for that matter, all of Communicore was the most cutting edge materials and design of the day, which is why they got so dated so quickly, frankly. So when I look at those photos and video, I see, wow, this is really nicely appointed. The ceiling system alone is really expensive and custom and beautiful. It's very, very nice. Is it themed? Not really, but what is the theme? What was the theme of the electric umbrella other than neon, right? Like,
I'm
it's
fine with just neon.
Well, I'm not saying that
More
just
neon,
neon's
please.
bad. I'm not saying that just neon's bad. I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna create a theme in Epcot, that's in Future World, especially for an eatery, that's kind of hard. It's always been difficult in Future World, and so to me, my criticism of it is more that operations won. If you know what I mean. Like, I look at that layout and I look at that vast open space and very little character. It's huge, and it's all because they know the crowds are going to be huge. They know they need, it's one of those things where Disney takes whatever would be normal design for normal throughput of a restaurant of that capacity and over designs by probably a factor of 2 or 3 in terms of pathways and sizes and access and stairs and ramping.
And it's not just a cafe. It's not just a lunch place.
It's also a Starbucks,
It's the
right?
Starbucks. It's the Starbucks on campus now. So
right.
And Starbucks is always insane with a line out the door at every single park.
So I'm of two minds about it. I'm like, no, it's not particularly interesting, but it's not horrible looking. It's just very nice.
No, it's
and
not
clean
horrible.
and
It's just
contemporary.
sort of disappointing.
Yeah, it's kind of boring. It's just boring.
Yeah, if you've been to the store, which has already been opened and has a consistent theme to the cafe, it's very nice. It's very high ceiling. It's a lot of open air, a lot of windows, and there's something nice about that. I mean, look, I get that. I don't know. I get that Electric Umbrella was created by Raleigh Crump and yada 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 yada, but I don't think it aged necessarily that great. It was a lot of dark spaces and second floors and carpet. So I think that it needed to be changed to something, and I think this treats that side of the park like, here is a actual restaurant that will actually fit the amount of people that we need to fit into it, and hopefully it makes things a little faster, a little nicer. Jeanine and I were there, how long were we there? A couple weeks ago, and we walked kind of they opened that side of the park, and it was really clean. Like, it was really nice. You could see all of the logos and all the typography was right. And
I love the logos and typography.
Yeah, and it looked really classy. And so I mean, I get why people don't feel like it's much of anything. But I also think in 15, 20 years, that lack may translate a little bit better, opposed to, deep blues and neon, though I think that's going to impact your brain a lot more. But maybe the module kind of nature of that area means they can update it. Do we get one very fleshed out, interesting themed area and then it doesn't change for 25 years because it would take a lot of money? Or do you get these sort of, thinly done but nice areas that they can change artwork out and color schemes quicker every 5 years or 10 years? Like, I don't know.
So
we'll find out.
Does it have outdoor seating at all?
I don't know.
No.
When I looked at that picture, I was like, okay, you can get food into the hands of 1,000 people in an hour.
Right.
But then what? Where are they taking it? Where are they sitting? Where are they eating?
I saw a walkthrough that had on somebody's Twitter video that had quite a bit of seating. There seems like a lot of it, actually.
Okay, good.
But my question would be, for a hangout, like if I want to, like one of my favorite new hangouts on any Disney property for a land that is kind of meh is Pim's Tasting Lab at Avengers Campus. I mean, the land is whatever it is, what it is. It's lacking the e-ticket it needs, but as a hangout for cocktails, it's great, especially at sunset. Like it's really, really good. And so like for me, that cafe would benefit from that because you're beat on the main drag, on the main plaza, people watch, etc. I know Florida's a little different because it's humid and gross for a lot of the year, but I still think it would benefit from that. And then this second question, and this is for you guys to answer when you finally go.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like when it's full of people? Because it's not carpet anymore. It's really hard floor. I mean, I looked at that ceiling, and as beautiful as it is, there's a reason for it. It's irregular. It's irregular angles. It's wood or some sort of wood like, at least looks like wood material, and that's on purpose. That's for acoustics. That's so that it's absorbent, and it'll reflect the sound so it doesn't bounce back and forth between the floor and the ceiling.
What I can say from the experience in the store, which is it's connected. It's the same vibe. There was no real sound issues. It was
but a store also has racks and racks of clothing and soft things.
100%, 100%. So we'll find out sooner than later because I got Guardians to see and Cosmics to rewind. So I'll be there sooner than later for sure. All right, moving on to our next topic. I wanted to talk about something I saw on Instagram. So this comes from Hyperspace Props, which they seem to do different props. They make different Star Wars stuff, but they're also cosplayers. And they went and did the Starcruiser. And she has a photo, I believe it's a couple, and one of them dressed up like a Twi'lek. If you know the Twi'leks, they have the two large sort of flesh braids that come out of their head. She's standing by the X-Wing in Galaxy's Edge. And I kind of stopped for a second and I thought, wait a minute, are we allowed to, I'm confused. Because last time I knew, when you were at Galaxy's Edge, you're not allowed to dress up. You can't even wear the stuff you buy at Galaxy's Edge, theoretically. And I've seen a couple people do that. But it's not this. It's not full, your whole body's colored cosplay. So she says, most common Halcyon question. So Halcyon, of course, being the Starcruiser. Did Disney allow me to go around at Galaxy's Edge in full pink Twi'lek paint and costume? Spoiler-free answer is yes. I know this has been a big concern for many, as it was for me. I was always planning on doing a Twi'lek for the Halcyon until about a month ago, and I heard from my travel agent that Disney would only allow the Leku in Galaxy's Edge, not the face paint. Leku being the braids, the flesh braids. I was devastated. How dumb to be a Twi'lek day one on the Halcyon and not day two when I'm on bed two. So she goes on and talks about how she brought everything, brought an extra costume just in case. But Disney had no problem with it. They asked a cast member, or they were looking for direction. No one said anything. So they went and talked to, let's see here, I'm reading it again. Disney, while there, she saw the Imagineers and in Scott, so they must have known some Imagineers, and specifically asked them if guests could go full face paint in Galaxy's Edge. They enthusiastically said, yes, please, after talking to her and asked my travel agent to triple check next time. So she went, she told people while she was in Galaxy's Edge that she wasn't a cast member, and made that clear, and nothing against her. I have no issue with her at all, just so we're clear. I saw another post, and it was a man dressed up as Darth Maul and another man in a half carbonite Han Solo costume that looked... what Hyperspace Props is wearing is a beautiful, beautiful outfit. And what these people were wearing was real dog shit. Very, very, not cosplay, very much Comic-Con sort of walking and getting comics vibe.
Yeah.
And they were standing in the actual Starcruiser watching the introduction of what was going on. And I wanted to bring up with you guys what you think about this weird shift in Disney. We were just talking about the difference between Imagineers and operators. And it seems like a very operator move to sort of be like, no, let the rich guests that paid lots of money do the thing they want to do. It doesn't matter. But it's interesting to me that Imagineers also said yes, please to this. I'm just curious where everyone lands. I'm very mixed. I'm just confused by the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's a point of privilege. I think it's, if they had come through the front gates, of Hollywood studios
No way.
in that outfit? No way. They would have been turned away. So it is absolutely a privilege of paying the cost. And like, what are they going to do? Say no? Like, I think that audience is going to come in with entitlement.
I think what they're seeing is the Starcruiser is all about immersion, and why not encourage your guests and eliminate any barriers to your guests paying to create the immersion for you?
At the same token, though, that carbonite photo that you took a picture of is one of those crappy inflatable costumes. I would have been pissed if I had paid $5,000 and had to deal with that guy walking around.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because like
it's just bad.
The Twi'lek outfit is like film ready. Like it's gorgeous. Like it's amazing. And that if that was the standard and you had to like meet with like you had to get it reviewed with Disney, like okay, fine. But that's never going to happen. No,
it's that's a subjectivity that is never ever happening. I mean, remember all of this happened when in early mid-aughts when that girl dressed up as Tinkerbell for her boyfriend and tried to get in and got kicked out of the parks. Do you remember her?
That's right.
Right. That's where all of this started. I did a whole talk on this years ago, and that she was kicked out and they showed her tearfully on the news. It was really kind of sad. And it's like, Disney, you have done this to yourself. You've created a generation of people. We all have toys on our desks, well into our 30s to 50s. We all like cosplay. You're appealing to those people, and yet you're not allowing them to live the fantasy. And that's where bounding came out of, right? Bounding came out of that frustration.
Which is interestingly enough, I think more creative because as always, once you put up fences and you have to get even more creative, it ends up being kind of a better way to celebrate anyway. But
exactly. Right. And that's where the gal that wears the Twi'lek outfit, like I admire that. And I'm not necessarily mad at her for getting into Galaxy's Edge, but it's like Disney has to, I think it needs that boundary because
100%.
That was the whole reason that they kicked Tinkerbell out, because they didn't want, kids mistaking her for the real thing. And that's hard. I get that conflict. I want to live the fantasy too, and I have bounding outfits, but then I try really hard, very creatively, not to cross that line into costume. And I think for me, the line is makeup.
Yeah.
If you're wearing makeup, like you can wear an outfit in, especially Star Wars, it's like tunics and things. Okay, mostly street clothes.
Yeah.
For me, the line would be makeup.
I feel like I'm really glad that you brought up the point of privilege, because I think that this really shows like how class and privilege play a huge role in like how Disney vacations are now being planned, because it's like it shows that if you have the money, you can bypass all of these different rules and all these different boundaries, and it's like it doesn't matter. Like if you pay that $6,000, you better be getting a $6,000 experience and be able to like do whatever the hell you want. Right. And I just
but that's
think
nothing new either. That's what a plaid is.
It's not exactly. But I think that now we're seeing it. Like when there were plaids, it's like it was kind of like, oh, whatever. Like this is just a VIP. It's not a big deal. But like now that you're seeing this person in front of you, like if I would have seen her in the parks, she would be a character to me. I would want to go up and take a picture with her. And I think the thing that makes me a little bit hesitant about having someone like her in the parks, which by the way, her outfit was super cool, amazing, like no hate towards her.
And I think she did the appropriate thing. Like she had another plan in place. Like no shade to her. She's just the entrance to this conversation for sure.
Exactly. And I just feel like money often is not just like a clear guide to say that that person might not be dangerous as well. So it's like maybe like you don't know, like we don't know who she is, we don't know what she might do, and like maybe there's some weirdos out there who might pay that $6,000 to get dressed, and like something might happen, and like we don't know how Disney will deal with that. So I think that that's going to be like a consequence that will most likely like we'll see how it unfolds in the future, if they're going to continue to like allow this type of behavior from guests who do want to spend a little bit more money. But I'm just really glad that we're finally having the conversation around class and privilege when it comes to the Disney parks, because I think it's playing a huge role even now with premium, like extra premium services like this one.
Right. Yeah, I think the issue is always currently why people are so frustrated is not that there's new premium stuff that they can't pay for. It's that the premium stuff is it's like a cupcake now. Like
Yeah.
it used to be something, and the quality of that has deteriorated over time.
Not to mention things that were free are no longer free.
100%, 100%. And we're gonna talk about one of those coming up, for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, when I see amazing stuff like this, I don't want to get upset about that. But you're right. If I saw that carbonite dude, like, are you like, if you're trying to go for immersion, that's not immersion. Like some guy dressing up in like boxer shorts and a Darth Vader hat, it's not immersion. You know, like that's not going to make me feel like I'm on the Halcyon. So
and the problem is that's subjective, and it's like they're never ever gonna make the rule something that requires a subjective view and approval. It's just not going to happen.
At the very least, request that the rich not dressed as actual characters. Like you could, like there can be a small rule where it's like you can do this and just make it clear. Because I feel it's weird that they didn't have that. I mean, they used to yell that at you on trams going to Hollywood Studios every day. So the idea that there's nothing in all of this, you know, Halcyon information packet, that it seems strange to me that that's an oversight.
I mean, the tension of that land is that they've created a platform that invites this, right? And they're
100%.
vocal about it. The Imagineers said it. They want this. They want you to lean into it. Hell, I turn Oga's into a gay bar on gay days with my friends. Like it like, and you know what? What's funny about that is I heard about it months later from a friend who works at ILM, and he says, "Oh, you did that? Oh my God, that made the rounds. Everybody loved that you did that." Like, so it is a platform. It is the logical extension of where themed environments go. It's going to turn into immersive theater. We want you to lean forward. It's three generations of kids that are video game players and want agency and cosplayers. Like, it makes sense. At the same token, there are people who are going to, like in video games, who are going to grief that. They are going
100%.
to screw with it. They are going to lean into it the wrong way.
They're going to exploit it.
Yeah.
They're going to exploit it. This is basically.
I'm going to be at Hollywood Studios. Venmo me, and I'll be by this spot, and you can come take a picture with me in my crazy costume in front of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah, or worse, that it's opened the door for people to come in and do their own little shows, right?
Yeah.
Like flash mob style.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I know. I hate that I've said it because I've manifested in the world.
No,
I
I want you to manifest it. I need it to happen because all the way it goes is you have to have something get out of control before you restrict it again, and that's how we get back to, you know, a normalcy.
I feel like there's no easy answer for them though, because like you want people to come in and lean in on the Halcyon.
Oh no, it's an easy answer if you're booking the Halcyon every time it's open. But when you're not booking it, you do shit like this because you need people on board.
Yeah.
And you know what it also does? I hate to say this, but it sort of reveals the flaw of Galaxy's Edge in that all of that activation and characters and show and live shows were cut. And and you're literally allowing the guests to fill in those blanks.
I think, like you said, the makeup was just a little too far. I think had she not included that, I think it would have been fine. But it's like, it's weird that they're saying, okay, yeah, come dressed up, but don't bring your lightsaber. So it's like you can't really pick and choose like what is allowed and what isn't allowed.
Wait, do they not let you bring your lightsaber back in anymore?
I mean, you totally can.
You're not
supposed
not
to.
the actual blade. They're saying
you're supposed to like
blade.
not. You're supposed to not take it out, and you're supposed to keep it in its satchel. But when the sun goes down, those things are out everywhere.
No,
like, that's...
on the Halcyon, like you're not. Can't bring it on.
Okay.
So like that's what I'm like. It just kind of feels weird. Like it's like picking and choosing what the guests can't, like what's immersive, but then you're allowing them to dress in like full costume. I just think that's a little strange. I don't know. To me, this feels like a PR stunt. Feels like a little weird. Like saying, "Oh, come," but like I just don't know if they would be willing to like allow hundreds of guests like being dressed in like full Star Wars costumes to go into the park.
The congestion.
Like, it just would be crazy.
From
not
like
that.
a crowd control standpoint, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
When you don't control your meet and greets anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I get it. People, even a crappy Han Solo and Carbonite in front of the Millennium Falcon, people would take pictures with them. You know, like 100%. Oh my gosh.
If you don't have it in the park, then like might as well, like you're gonna have a guest who's dressed just like it, why not? Like, I'm gonna go ahead and take the picture.
Yep. Well, anyway, that's our thoughts on that. But we got to move on over to the West Coast and talk about where, let's just say, dreams and believing in things it's not happening anymore. You can't dream and you can't believe. Is that right, Sarah? No more dreaming and believing over at Disneyland?
No more dreaming and believing at Disneyland. So the Magic Key saga continues. It is just nothing good. We're not hearing anything good. So Disneyland has announced that they will not be allowing renewals for the Believe and Dream Magic Keys, which these are the two top tier Magic Keys. And that's due to the Magic Keys being sold out. They are not allowing the renewal of expired Dream, Believe keys at this time. And the passes were on sale until August 2021. But the ones that are not being allowed to be renewed were the ones that were expiring on May 1st.
And you know how that happened, right?
Yes. Which is I didn't even know they were doing this. Like, apparently people who had unused tickets, whether it be like military tickets or just just tickets that they had not used, they were allowed to upgrade, which expire next month, which means that their annual passes also expire within like less than 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, I was under the impression that he used it in May.
Yeah.
And then when the passes became available to purchase, they told people you can apply a previous ticket to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he went in May and then came back and said, I want to buy a pass, but I used this in May. Is that what happened? Because that sounds weird.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm not really understanding. So according to this person, Jeff Gordonla on Twitter, they shared a Facebook post of someone on the Uncensored Magic Key Holders Facebook page who claimed that their Believe key expires on May 1st because they used a military ticket to upgrade their pass.
Oh, yeah.
And the guest received an email response that they had upgraded the pass from a ticket that was unused, which was going to expire on May 1st of this year. So technically it was a year because they had applied that ticket to the annual pass. So technically, I don't even think they got a full year of the annual pass. It's just because they applied the ticket.
Right. I mean, let's be honest. We knew that renewal for the keys was going to be a shit show. Let's not pretend that it wasn't going to be a shit show, because they sold out so quickly, and they have, not told people what this is an elastic velvet rope. They're not telling people how many they're selling. They're just saying at a certain point, we're done. And so renewal for that sold out group is going to be incredibly coveted. Maybe they've added more. Maybe their plan is to add more availability. Maybe it's less. Who knows? So we don't really know until I would say September, because that's when they were made available. I think this one is a weird outlier that shows the first crack in the armor because of its weirdness. It's a very strange situation that led to this guy's pass. But it's showing itself in May when everybody else's renewals are not going to be. I haven't gotten anything yet, and I was one of the first ones. I bought it like the first day.
Yeah, same here.
And I'm not renewing it for a lot of reasons. I've had a pass since 1993 when they were first made. No, sorry, 1984, 85 when they were first made available. I was 14. I saved up all my money to go. I've had a pass every year except for the 2 years that I lived in Orlando. This is the first time I'm not renewing. So
congrats, Disney.
You're welcome.
Well done.
They're still going to get my money. I'm just not going to give it to them just not going to give them that much,
Did you have a pass when you were in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, because I was traveling back and forth. I bought one that year anyway, because I knew I'd have it. I knew I'd go.
Right.
But anyway, regardless, I think this is step one of what is going to be a multi-step shit show.
Yeah, I totally agree, especially with like the Disney lawsuit over the no blockout dates. Like, that's even a thing that we haven't even really
tell me about that. I don't know about
that. Yeah, so there's actually a lawsuit currently going on right now that was brought up by, I believe it was a class action lawsuit by a couple of the pass holders that were claiming that Disney essentially lied to the Dream Key holders, claiming that there would be no blockout dates. However, there are blockout dates because they're not able to get reservations into the park. So they're saying it's false
Yeah,
advertising.
they're saying the lack of reservations effectively equates to blackout
Yeah.
dates, which I can't disagree with. I just went last Sunday, and I had to book that like like the full 60 days in advance. And the week after I booked it, I invited some other friends who have passes, and they couldn't go. So
That's outrageous.
It's insane, right?
It's rough because like we're spending so much money a month, or like if you even bought the pass outright from the very beginning, like it's so much money that you're spending and you're not even able to go. Like I have never, prior to COVID and all this, when I used to have my pass, I would go almost like maybe 2-3 times a week. Now it's like maybe if I'm lucky 2 to 3 times a month, if that. Like, and this if that, because like now I have like a 9-to-5 job and I can only go on the weekends, and the weekends are so booked. Like you said, you got to get them like 60 days out. So it's not even, you can't even go for like the spontaneous, like quick trip here and there. And I literally live a freeway exit away from Disneyland and I can't even go in. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it sucks.
And you're right, that spontaneity was half the reason to own
It
one.
really was, because that was always...
could drop
what are we doing
in.
today?
Hey,
no
let's
plans?
go to Disneyland.
Let's go to Disney.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you want to go get lunch? Let's go to Disney. Like that's literally OC culture. Like that's what we did.
Yeah.
So
And it's gone.
Orlando's the same way. Like, people would just kind of pop on by, and now it's become. I mean, it was kind of an Epcot thing anyway, but now it's very much an Epcot thing because Epcot has the most open spots.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, or I mean, and maybe it has I think it has the most open spots, or it's at least the one that's not reserved as much. I don't know, but I feel like on the day of, you can generally get an Epcot.
Epcot's always the last to go. I think it's the state of people are not making that their first park because it opens late.
Yep.
And it's also in shambles.
That's true. I forgot about that. There's like shambles everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is, like, I looked at renewal and what I paid last time, and then I look at the 3-day tickets you can get from Costco, right?
Yeah.
I can buy 3 or 4 of those and have 9 or 12 entrances and still get out for like half of what I paid for my pass. Wow. And how many times have I been since I got my pass in September? I think I just passed 6 times. Which pays for itself.
Disney fucked up.
But it took that long. It took over half a year when I used to do 6 visits in 2 months. You know?
Yeah.
They're going after the people who are going to drop $5,000 on a vacation, you know, and stay on property and do that. And they're shooting the people who are like, I will regularly pay $2,500 to $3,000 every single year for the past 10 years, and we'll continue to do so. And they're like, no, we don't want your money. We want the $5,000 person who's going to come one time, not come again, and then be replaced by another person, I guess, who's going to spend $5,000. And
hey,
like,
at least there's no inflation going on or anything, and those $5,000 people are still going to come for sure.
Yeah.
And like I get that, like I guess ideology when you're looking at the Florida parks, but Disneyland is not like that.
No.
Like
majority,
that's true. Like it's like, what is it? Like I think it's like about 65% of like the annual, like we're our annual pass holders, like on everyday
local
visits.
park.
Yeah, it is a local park. So it's like you can't ice out the people who essentially make the park what it is and then expect them to come back like year after year. I mean, they're still
that's
gonna
really
come back, like
nuts.
to be honest. But like it's just at this point, I like Dave said, I think we're really gonna see those numbers drop for those renewals, because I'm even considering like whether or not I want to renew my pass, which I've had for like years now at this point. But it's like if I'm not really getting any use out of it and it's just like an added expense that I'm not even really enjoying anymore, and going to the parks just feels like a hassle, and getting there and having to deal with the increased crowds and like the Genie Plus situation, it doesn't even feel like it's enjoyable anymore, which is just like really sad. The parks just used to be a place that you could just go and hang out.
I wonder if they're thinking about the consequences of taking people who have built in their social structure and their culture around, we don't know what to do. Disney is the fail safe. We'll go to Disney and spend our money there.
Yeah.
And kicking them out, even if they only think it's temporary, people are going to build new habits.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so like they might not be around when Disney is ready for them to come back, if they ever are.
Let me ask you this, Sarah. Do you like boysenberry? You into boysenberry?
I do like boysenberry, and I
Ooh.
have a Knott's pass as well.
That's where we're going now. Knott's, baby.
Knott's is
Knott's.
making bank on because of all this, and
It really is.
I've never seen Knott's as crowded as I had the last 2 times I've been. It was ridiculous.
I tried to go 2 weeks ago for the Boysenberry Festival. Couldn't even get parking. I was just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it today.
Yeah.
So just drove my ass back home. Like, it's crazy.
Oh no, we can't even get into Knott's. Y'all, I'll see you at Dollywood. We're all just gonna head to Dollywood. They're heading out free Moderna over at Dollywood.
Really?
No.
I was like,
No, I had Sarah on the hook for that one though.
I was like, what? That's so cool. They're vaccinating.
Yo, come on
people at
down to
the
my
theme park?
Dollywood. You're gonna get Moderna from me.
You've heard that story where she rubbed her nails together and it sounded like a typewriter, and that's how she wrote 9/5. Have you ever heard that story? It's really charming. But when we heard about Moderna, my friends and I were like, "Well, I was just rubbing my nails together, and that reminded me of DNA sequencing." And I thought, anyway, God love her.
God love her. God love her. Now I want some boysenberry. We were talking boysenberry. Now I want boysenberry. All right. Anyway, going from I don't have a transition for this one. We're just going to talk about the Tarzan Treehouse retheme. I'm tired. So, as some of you have heard, probably at this point, Tarzan's Treehouse is less a treehouse and more a scaffolding now, as they do stuff to it. I think it was going to be down for a refurb anyway, but now they're doing a full retheme.
I feel like it's
right,
always
Sarah?
down for a refurb. Like, it just feels like it just always has like scaffolding on it. But yeah, so according to the OC Register, the Tarzan Treehouse is being rethemed to what we don't know. What I'm hoping for is something with Encanto, with Antonio. That would just be so cute. I think it would just lend itself really, really well.
It would be wise to do that.
Yes.
It really would be. And that's kind of like the rumors that are circulating around. If you guys didn't know, the Tarzan Treehouse was first opened as the Swiss Family Treehouse at the Disneyland Park in 1962. And some people are even speculating that it might go back to the Swiss Family Treehouse because they're apparently like demolishing the entrance and like turning it around.
would be
I was like,
nuts.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
That
We would
was
hear
that was
we-
past due when I was a kid.
Yeah, there'd be a Disney Plus show on the horizon if that was the case.
Yeah.
We would hear about it.
Yeah.
It'd be The Rock is now in Swiss Family Robinson.
Well, that was also another rumor, but I think the Encanto rumor makes the most sense because it just fits really well with the theme, and it just makes a lot of sense for the setting where we are and all that. And honestly, I would be very excited to have something with Encanto. Like, I think we like desperately need some sort of Latino influence in the park, especially Disneyland, whether it be Coco or Encanto. But yeah, I think I'm gonna miss the Tarzan Treehouse. It's a very nice scenic route, if you will, and it's such a beautiful little trail that you could take. It's just really scary going up those stairs sometimes.
My concern is that, like, I love Encanto. I would love to see that there, or Coco, or whatever. But putting such a huge brand on that tiny plot of land, like, where are they going to queue up for that thing? Like, it's Tarzan was fine, and the stairs and the bridge added a really great little sort of lengthening of the entrance for some overflow on busy days, but it didn't really need it. But Encanto will. Like, that's I welcome something new and cool, and especially that movie, but oof, I just don't know how that will be anything but a nightmare for the smallest land. It literally is the smallest land in the park, you know?
Yeah. And and the treehouse has always been a weird sort of, I mean, it's kind of, at the beginning, there was so many ideas for walk-through attractions, whether at the Haunted Mansion or Pirates, or and this is the one that somehow kind of like, this is the one thing of like, stop kinda and look at a thing and then keep walking, and it's just existed forever, and I'd just be glad you're getting a retheme. We're over here still sitting around with Swiss Family Robinson like anyone gives a crap, but.
I kind of almost wish that they would get rid of the treehouse entirely just for guest flow, because that area is so congested.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they are gonna retheme it, I would hope it would be for something cool. But like you said, Dave, I don't know how they would, because it's just a lot, unless they pick that one character.
Right. And right. There's been talk about it that it's the little boy and it's like
Yeah.
his animal friends or something,
Yeah.
right? Because his room in the casita was the one that was was a big tree, right?
Yeah.
So I get it, but and there's no room behind there. Like in a perfect world, that would be the entrance for an entire casita madrigal dark ride. Like, oh my god, I want a trackless dark ride like Mystic Manor, but inside the
You're
casita.
just gonna need
yes, please and thank you.
You're just gonna need a mile-long queue, and then you'll be able to
just
do
like
something.
Indy, right?
Yeah.
Just like Indy. Yeah.
Jeez, man, Adventureland seems so small, but then I walked 2 miles somehow inside of Adventureland. I don't know how I did this. I think, Sarah, we can all say that Tarzan Treehouse will be in our hearts from this day on, now and forevermore. That's a little Phil Collins for y'all.
I noticed. Props to that. That was good.
Thank you. We are going to move on, though, to talk about how Disney has responded very quickly, because we I wouldn't say we broke the news, but it happened right before we recorded the last episode about the Tenaya Stone controversy. If you remember that, Jeanine led us through that conversation. So, Jeanine, why don't you take us through Disney's response to possibly breaking federal law?
They deny it fully and completely.
Yeah.
And that's that. That's the end of the statement. They say that the stone wasn't sourced from Yosemite National Park. Who can say? Maybe. I'm not very good at mineral identification. I can say that certainly in the article they called it obsidian. It's not obsidian. It's not that. It looks.
It's obscene that they called it obsidian.
Indeed, it looks more like a sandstone to me. But I don't know enough to say the provenance is from Yellowstone Park. It could be from the outskirts, but that's really kind of a red herring here. The real story isn't about the stone being from Yellowstone or Yosemite National Park. It's about the rest of the issue, which they don't address.
Is this, I don't know, are they just doing, well, obviously they are doing damage control by saying that the stone was not sourced from there.
The lawyer was like, you need to go out there right now.
But the art director said that she got it from there. So like, did she lie to them? Are they saying she lied?
Specifically, they said that the elders found it, or like, they don't really explicitly say where they came across it. It could have been an estate sale in Toledo. Who could say that? But the elders found it and gave it to them. So it could be from anywhere.
The elders, by the way, who are not part of the tribe that is being represented
they're from
by
a
this
different Miwok tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, honestly enough, congrats to Disney for keeping their mouth shut once.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not working talking.
No.
Talking seems to be a bad call for them recently. So, maybe
honestly,
this is for the
it
best.
really, I don't love what they did, but there's no fixing it really at this point without really getting into the weeds in tribal law.
Yeah.
And
or just retheming it,
or retheming it completely, which even then would just still be a lose for them. Like, it would still be like, Disney has to retheme, spends $2 million catering to the woke left. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the update on that. But let's talk about something actually fun going on at Disneyland. I guess technically the tree might be fun. But this for me, this next subject is possibly like this really small, like, light amongst a lot of darkness recently when it comes to Disney news. Jeanine, you were very excited.
I was really excited.
A lover of bugs.
Yeah.
Please tell us a little bit
really
about what they did.
This is one of those things that's just like, nobody really does it like Disney. And this is like them hearkening back to what we all love about them, which is like the little, like, almost throwaway things that they do that just make it so much more special. And this is Wasp from Ant-Man and the Wasp carrying around a little animated model of Flick's Funfair, like shrunken down as if she actually had the Bugs Flick's Funfair in her hand, and it was moving around, and it was just a delight. And I just it's a model of what once was there. Like they shrunk down.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't
Bugs
destroy
Land.
it.
They
just
didn't
shrunk
destroy it to make Avengers Campus. They just shrunk it down and put it in this little model.
Yeah.
And
immediately,
know.
some people on Twitter were like, "Oh, well, actually, how does that work with Stark being there before?" And you know what? You know
Go to
what?
hell.
It's fun. Damn it!
Nope, you're not supposed to think that hard about it.
I had one minor quibble.
Quibble
Okay.
away, Dave. Cut.
Yeah.
I think it's adorable. But, however, you're all gonna hate me for saying this. Thematically, you were already shrunk to the size of a bug when you entered Bugs Land, right?
Right.
Right.
Oh, so this isn't shrunk. Oh, that's a really interesting point, Dave.
Well, that still works. I mean, theoretically,
Yeah,
they're still
it just-
carrying it around.
It's literally they just picked it up scooped it up into a little pot. So
So then is Wasp just like giant?
no, she's
No.
normal.
No, but anyway. I think it's adorable, but it was like my brain went, "Wait, how is this? What?" Anyway.
That comes from the theme park experience designer.
I'm trying to pick it apart. Trust me, I'm trying to find the flaws. But I'm defaulting where you guys are at, which is that's adorable. I loved it at first, and then I was like, wait a minute.
Here's the thing, though. This is, and I literally cannot remember the last time Disney spent money on something they can't make money back on. And I was just like, you just did this for fun. This is like a fun thing that you did. And like for fun and theming. And
It makes me think about the light bulb at that one restaurant on Main Street. I
Sure.
forget whether it was Disney World or Disneyland, but
it's Disneyland.
there's like a pattern in red and white bulbs, and
It's
there's a bulb in
Disneyland.
the corner.
Yeah.
It's Disneyland where
Yeah.
Red
it
and white.
borders one of each, and so they just have half the bulb red and half the bulb white, and people went nuts because it got burnt out. And they put like a normal bulb there, and they were like, Disney's so cheap, they're not gonna whatever, and
they fixed it.
and they fixed it, and it's just like those little things that Disney does, and this
Yeah. So
Yes.
rare.
Yeah.
So rare. Because someone brought up, and I thought this was an interesting perspective, because I think this was an industry person too. And they were like, oh man, it'd be so great if they sold those little bugs.
I would buy one.
And I went, no. We cannot have this mindset. We cannot sit here and go, I want to buy everything. Because you're teaching Disney the wrong lesson here. Right?
It's consumerism. We can't get out of it.
Boo, don't tell them that, right? I like that it's a thing. And if I turned around and it was in a gift shop, I'd be bummed. It wouldn't
I
mean
could
as
see
much
that.
to me.
Yeah.
Because
I
it's
think
just
it's
a thing.
interesting. This really only works, harkening back to earlier in our conversation, this really only works at Disneyland because they have the repeat annual pass holder density that really has a relationship that they formed with this land that's gone versus someone who's only been once or twice in the last 10 years and then it disappeared and something new and is exciting for them to come see.
No one misses Mickey's Starland. Trust me, nobody.
I really do miss like a Bugs Land. I think it was such a nice place to go, and it's
Yeah.
like there was so much shade there as well, and it was so unique. I really loved how it looked, and one of my first memories as a cast member is being taken backstage and then ending up there. I was like, how the hell did we end up here? Like I didn't get the system. I was like, oh my gosh, and it's like that's like one of my favorite memories because it really showed me like there's so much going on behind the scenes, and like then you get plopped into like the land and like everything is just like it's just like kind of like a whole like curtain being lifted. But I think a Bugs Land, I really wish it wasn't gone because it was going back to a conversation that we had a couple podcasts ago, that we need more places that are just for kids, that are just for toddlers, that are just kid friendly. Yeah. And I get it. And I am someone that is all for park evolution. I love it. I love going forward when it comes to the parks. But I think something that's really, really missing is areas where kids can run and roam and be able to explore, and have rides where they can also enjoy themselves. Because I think that we're really moving into a direction where it's very adult focused, which I don't mind because I'm an adult. But I think children really do need a place like a Bugs Land. So I hope they bring something like that soon.
Yeah.
Or if like, what is it called? Not Toonland. Is it
Toontown?
Toontown. Oh my god, Toonland.
How are you doing? Hey, remember how you said earlier that you've not been to Disneyland in a while?
That's what happened. See, Disney, you make me forget.
Future world,
Future
adventure
land?
place. What are these lands called anymore?
I don't even know. But yeah, like I hope Toontown does like offer something similar because they have started construction on it, and from the aerial photos, it looks super cool.
Dave, I did see a video of Ant-Man walking around with it, and he said that they didn't want to get rid of it because he wanted to use it for his bugs, his ants. So in theory, it's always been small, and they've kept it so his ants had something to do. So
now I want to see little ants riding on Flick Flyer. Going,
all I'm thinking about is when I hear that, I just think of John Hammond talking about his flea circus in Jurassic Park.
Wait, Dave, I have a quick question. I think you probably know this, but was it true that Flick's Flyers became Emotional Whirlwind?
Yes, it did. And that was not an easy redo because given Disney's A, quality standards, and B, sort of, safety of redoing a old piece of hardware. Because at that point, it was 12 years old, that ride. They sent it back to the manufacturer in Italy.
Wow.
Yeah. And the manufacturer, and the manufacturer is the one that did all the resculpting and retooled it and got it back up to new specs. So it saved them a little bit of money from buying it new, but not a lot. So it was an asset that they had to reuse, and Disney, that means paying. Why buy one when you can have two for twice the price, basically?
True.
But yes, it was the original. It was Flick's Flyers to start.
Well, at least a little part of it is still there.
Yeah. What's that? I hear music. What is that? Oh, I have a cigarette in my hand and a baguette under my arm. What?
And a beret.
Oh, mon chéri, I need to take my union break. I'm at Disneyland Paris now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Paris is now celebrating its 30th anniversary. We talked a little bit about studios a couple of weeks ago because they were celebrating their anniversary. But now the main old park, old Disneyland Paris, also known as Euro Disney, ladies and gentlemen, has reached 30 years old. It can have an early midlife crisis. Dave, tell us a little bit about Disneyland Paris and any reflections any of y'all have at 30 years of Disneyland Paris.
My favorite joke about it was on The Simpsons when they go to Itchy and Scratchy Land at the end of the episode. Homer says, "I wonder what's happening over at Euro Itchy and Scratchy," and it cuts to ticket booths with tumbleweeds going by, and the guy inside the ticket booth is like, "Hello, we are open. My children need wine." Because the prevailing thought when Euro Disney, opened was that it was a failure, and the truth of it was, yes, it took a while to get up to its expectations and capacity and things, but the reason it was financially a lot was really due to the hotels, because they sort of overbuilt the number of hotels. Considering you were half an hour from Paris, why did they build so many big hotels on property? That has borne out to be a good investment, though, because they do get, like Disneyland, they get a lot of regional business, and they get a lot of weekender families that come in. So they sort of had the last laugh about that, and it all works great. I have been there a couple of times. It is actually my favorite of the castle parks.
It's beautiful.
Almost more so than, like, Disney will always have my heart because it's my first and my home park. But Disney Paris is something as far as a castle park. That Main Street is incredible. The castle is incredible. I'm sad that they got rid of the dragon, or did they get rid of it, or just board it up? Is it still there?
It's there. I think it's okay.
Some of my friends were just there a couple weeks ago.
Don't scare me like that. That's beautiful.
The cavern, the dragon cavern, was like my favorite, one of my favorite features of it. So I am looking forward to see where they go, because, as we talked about with the Studios Park, the, Disney owning a more majority share in that park is for the better and has really improved things. So I'm really curious as to what it turns into. It definitely is a different vibe and a different culture in terms of Imagineering, like just the what happens in that park and how is from entertainment to attractions is always a little bit different than stateside and Asia, of course. I, for one, love the logo for the 30th. It's so
great.
smart.
I love their whole design.
It's almost like they had an anniversary. I wonder what that's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, did you see the picture of the fireworks show where they actually do that?
The drones.
I loved that. I love that.
And that's an example of something you cannot do in the U.S. parks.
Mm-hmm.
And the simple reason is drones over people is something the FCC will not approve.
Right.
And you can get special dispensation in Asia and in Europe because it's been proven that these things are safe. And even if they do fall, they're like 3 ounces that fall on you. It's not gonna really hurt anybody.
Don't they do the drones in Universal?
Not
over water.
Not over people.
Yeah.
Not over people.
It's not over people. Okay.
Yeah, like the only drones we've seen are the ones that they did near Disney Springs, the Christmas ones, which were cute, but those were over water. So the problem is if you do it in the park, it's right next to the castle. It's in guest pathways. Anyway, they draw out the 30. If people haven't seen it, the 30-year logo, the 30 is basically a set of mouse ears, and it's so elegant and beautiful, and it's a testament to that park's taste level. Like they've always had great. I loved the opening when it was called Euro Disney. The opening color palette, if people haven't seen it, look up like opening marketing materials on Google for
great.
Euro Disney. It looked like Benetton. It was literally a Benetton ad. It was like
sexy.
Clean line and sexy and European and nothing like the U.S. parks. So I've always had a soft spot for that park. Eddie Sato, who was led up a lot of that stuff, is just a genius.
Tom K. Morris.
Tom K. Morris, right? Yep.
To the castle. It's a hell of a place, and I think it has enough uniqueness to its design that even if you're used to, I mean, there's a lot of, when it opened, it even had a lot of rehashed rides. I mean, that's what all the castle parks basically are, to start with, and even then, it was still very pretty, and that's lasted. I've yet to go. I'm very excited to someday go.
And then there's that weird mansion they put in, which I love because it's bonkers compared to the other ones.
Phantom
it's really
Manor.
bonkers. Phantom Manor is bonkers.
Yes.
But everything there is just so it literally is like this alternate reality Disney Castle Park. Everything's just a little bit different and
little more,
French. A little more French, but also like leaning into the American stuff that the French love. Like that's why Haunted Mansion is in the Old West, because they love the American West, right?
Yeah, they're used to castles.
Yeah.
And big mansions.
Right, exactly. Right. They're used to castles and mansions, right? So highly recommended.
Yeah, when I interviewed Tom K. Morris for my last podcast, Dreamfinders, so you can still find it. It's on Apple. It's everywhere. He did say, like, how do you make a castle for people that like see castles every day? It's really, really hard. And they really put in a lot. That Fantasyland's gorgeous. The whole place is just incredible.
Yeah, the Alice's Labyrinth is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
The trees next to the castle that look like the Ivan Derl paintings, the square trees.
Yes.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Janine, Sarah, has either of you been to Paris? I can't remember.
Unfortunately not.
I knew Victoria had. Sadly, Victoria
I was
couldn't make
supposed to go, but COVID killed my plans. I had tickets and everything.
Oh,
Merde.
Yeah.
I will recommend, I haven't started reading it, so it might be a bad book, but I don't know. I think it looks good. I found this in my university library. I never heard about this book. It's called Once Upon an American Dream. The Story of Euro Disneyland. This is by Andrew Lansbury. So he played Prince Charming when the park opened. And then he went on to get a PhD in American Studies and write this book about the history of Euro Disney, and because it's still called Euro Disneyland on the top. I don't know what the copyright is, but I'm interested in reading it. It's from the University Press of Kansas. And let's see here. 2000. It was written in 2000. So if you are looking for a unique Disney book about there's not a lot, especially that's not in English. So maybe that's something to check out. All right, moving from one castle to another, as we sort of finish up here, we're going to talk about, this is going to be our segment, of course, Mickled and Dimed, where we talk about things where we think maybe perhaps Disney is bilking people and their wallets. Is this worth the money or is it not? And we're going to talk about a virtual spot. You can buy yourself a virtual spot on Cinderella Castle, with the new Cinderella Castle Mural of Memories. So what this is to celebrate the 50th anniversary celebration. Disney PhotoPass Services is introducing this Mural of Memories, and it will let you virtually transform Cinderella Castle with your photos. So while at the Magic Kingdom, you can use the My Disney Experience app, because we all love doing that, to add select Disney PhotoPass photos to Cinderella Castle using some augmented reality. So you pay $10, you get a digital download of your photo, and you get to basically like pin your photo on the Magic Kingdom Cinderella Castle, and then when you come back for the next 3 years, you can like point your camera at the castle and it will swoop in and grab your photo and show it to you, even though you already have a download of that photo and no one else can see it. So this is basically like leave a legacy if it was an NFT.
I was literally thinking that.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I was like, this is like giving NFT, like the metaverse. That's, I feel like, the vibe that it was going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much are they charging for it?
$10.
$9.99.
$10. And they make a point of saying you get the download, which is a $17 value because it has no watermark, which also, that's insane. But $10 so you can point your camera at the Cinderella Castle so it'll swoop in and get it's.
They are determined to take your money and kill your cell phone battery.
Yes. For $8.99, you can I will literally print out your photo and nail it to the side of my house for $8.99. So that's a deal.
Well, I mean, this is the same as you know, on ride photos, and the reason they sort of give them away for free,
right,
with Max Pass and now Genie Plus, is that this is basically advertising, because with social media, the only reason people want this stuff is for cred and to post it to their friends, post it to their Twitter and their Facebook wall. And okay, so you get a fun little piece of content and they get free advertising. And that basically free. It costs
them. What is the content? I feel like all you're doing is advertising the fact that you have 2 brain cells and too much money.
Well, it's like, so that's what that too. Like, I'm not understanding how you could really share that with people unless you like take a screenshot.
You can screen record, or I think there's going to be a downloadable of, like, I bet you there's going to be some sort of downloadable video.
Sure.
Probably,
of it happening. Right. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be like any other in-park or ride photo that you get. The fact that it's not part of Genie Plus is kind of crafty, that they're making an extra $10 out of you for this.
It's 100%.
I think
what Disney does right now.
I think it would have been cool, because I get that they're playing off of like the projections on the castle, like that's what they're trying to go for.
Right.
It would have been cool had they like
actually do.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool had they like done it where it's like, oh, you paid $9.99 and it's like, we'll put your picture up there with hundreds of thousands of other people's pictures on there at the end of the fireworks show.
Right, which
Something
they've done
like
before.
That. Yeah, it's like that to me would make more sense. Maybe you might not be able to see your picture from that far away, but it's still kind of like commemorating it and it's like on the castle. But having something that's virtual for $9.99, I just think it's so stupid. Like who came up with this
watched
idea?
The trailer for it, and for one, the demo photo that they used was absolutely like a professional quality portrait.
Yeah.
Not what you're getting from their PhotoPass photographers. And then it shows the guy like frantically mashing his finger on the screen, demonstrating that he's, I guess, uploading it to the castle.
That's pretty normal. Yeah.
And
I
then
usually do that, mashing.
It shows you like the screen multiple times, and they're like, okay, you're going to show me what it does, right? You're going to show me what it does. And it doesn't. It just shows them looking at their phone with the castle blurred out in the background and smiling too much.
Yeah.
But never shows you what it actually does.
This is a great kind of thing. This is a wet fart that Disney can land, and no one's going to know if it didn't work or not. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't matter in the end.
Nope.
Like, they'll make $30 and they'll be like, okay.
Someone's brother-in-law developed this software and convinced Disney to buy it.
I mean,
yeah.
It doesn't have leave like. I'm not going to get NSYNC on this. I'm not going to get some guy going back and keying out his wife's photo or his ex-wife's photo. I'm not going to get that from this.
What do you want to bet, though? What do you want to bet that once it rolls out, that they're going to have some celebrity family do it and post to their socials?
Right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
Which,
gonna be
like,
like
it's fine.
Mario
An
Lopez.
influencer.
Like it's
Yeah,
gonna be real.
It's Mario Lopez.
Celebrity in air
Yeah.
quotes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna pick him up from the Grove and take him over, and you know
Yeah.
that's an LA
okay.
joke. That's the one I got, people. That's it.
That's a really good LA joke.
Got a Mario Lopez at the Grove joke, and you don't have to live there long to know that one.
Isn't he always at like, because he's the host for E like now, so isn't he always at like Universal?
He's at Universal all the time.
Yeah.
They drag him out for tons and tons of things. Yeah, he's like a celebrity you can meet
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Universal Studios Hollywood. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's like,
So it's
if you
Maria
wanna
Menounos.
spend-
Maria Menounos.
I love Maria Menounos.
She's on your theater screen. She's on your Cinderella Castle. She's gonna be everywhere. She's on my
Yeah.
gas
Nuvi.
station pump. Nuvi.
Movie. She's not there anymore at the theaters, so now
Oh,
it's,
she's at my theaters. You lucky dog.
she's not at ours. She who do we have? I forget her name.
Nicole Kidman.
Yes, Nicole Kidman. We have Nicole
Well,
Kidman.
of course. You're
Yeah,
lucky.
we have her in our theaters.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say was like, okay, if you want to go spend your money on stupid things, go for it. I spend money on stupid things all
Sure.
the time. Like, do that. No one is gonna sit here and police your spending habits. But let's be
Yeah.
smart, okay? Let us be smart, people. Let's not give Disney more money for stupid projects like this, because that brother-in-law is probably really happy right now and he thinks he did something. This allows them to come up with very stupid ideas moving forward. So I hope this flops.
Yeah, I don't hate AR. They put the 25th Castle as an AR filter, and it was
Yeah.
great. Like
Oh,
that's
that was-
the
I
nerdy
loved
stuff. That's
that.
amazing.
Oh, the birthday cake.
Yes,
that
I
was cool.
loved that. That was
Ugh.
my like heyday.
Yeah, but
Oh.
Yeah.
Not for $9.99 though. Like,
No, no,
that's-
Dave, are
certainly
you
not.
standing there telling me that you don't like the castle cake? Is this a breaking news?
I suffered through that. Yeah.
That's a-
I,
I mean, I hate to stereotype, but that's a pretty damn gay cake. I'm surprised that you don't just like love that cake.
oh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It was super gay.
Yeah.
I guess my thing is just like, you know, how many people loved it versus how many people thought their vacation photos was ruined because they had a bunch
Valid.
of inflatable
Sure.
lifesavers, basically.
Kids
um,
liked it a lot more than parents, I think.
I
Yeah.
just decided to look up the timeline on that because I was like, wait, that was the 25th anniversary. I'm not that old. And
Womp womp.
I am that old.
Yeah, you are.
But I looked it
Janine,
up and
Janine, I know you just woke up from a coma, but you have a child, and you're part of a podcast.
Was that 95?
96, and it was
I was-
October 96.
I was
And I'm-
26 years old.
I
Yeah.
was 7, and I had just moved to Florida from New Jersey in like 1995, and so I think that was like the first time that I went to Disney and remembered it. And so the cake for me, the cake castle for me,
Right. Sure.
is like that's
Yeah.
a core memory.
Oh yeah. No, and that's valid. That's totally valid.
Right. Well, Janine, if you feel old, you just reminded Dave that you were 7 when that cake was happening. So,
Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
job.
a grown adult who is old.
Yeah. Speaking of
What
grown
does that make you?
Who I had cocktails with last week, by the way, listeners.
Yeah, let's bring that up real
and-
quick.
Yes.
Janine and Nathan and I met up for a drink while I was in Orlando 2 weekends ago.
In our freak snowstorm.
It was freezing cold. We were on the rooftop bar at the
50.
Aventura at Universal, which was a bad call because it
Yeah.
was nothing but windy. And we
And
had
very
like,
loud, weirdly.
Yeah.
yeah, there was a DJ playing like, you know, the Macarena all night, basically.
Yeah.
And families dancing, but it was freezing cold. I was wearing shorts and a you know, a
Me too.
camp shirt.
Yeah.
It was freezing, but managed to everybody stay around and have a good time. But
Yeah.
I would say we had Twitterati there. We had
We did.
theme park Twitter royalty. We had Alicia Stella there. We had Skipper Haas there. We had Cryptoguts there. We had
Aesthetic
Aesthetic Puppet there.
Mhm.
Like, hi guys, you're all listening, hopefully listening to this. It was so fun. A couple of those people I had met last year, but it was great to meet you guys. It was
Yeah.
so weird how it was like we had known each other forever and ever and
That's
ever. Right?
I was
That's-
talking to people about how I met you, and they were like, "Oh, must have been kind of weird." And I was like, "No, it didn't feel like I was meeting you for the first time at all. It was
No.
like this
Yeah.
just feels like the most normal thing in the world. Like we've been doing this forever."
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, and I can say that about a lot of internet friendships, people I've met over
Yeah.
the years, that when that's the cool thing is you engaged with people in a very specific way. And so when you
Mhm.
meet, it's like, oh yeah, you're an actual human being that I can see
Yeah.
in front of me, you know?
And generally, like as internet interactions go is you made a choice to interact with that person, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so
Right.
you've made it. It's not like you're stuck meeting someone you've never met. Like you actively, you literally have followed them. Like that's the point. And so it's amazing how when you end up kind of together, you go, oh yeah, there's.
So one of these days, though, Sarah, you and I are going to have to go out there.
I
And
was
we're gonna,
just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Because
We're gonna-
I feel like I missed out. You guys look like you had so much fun. Like we need to do something like that on the West Coast. We're out
Oh.
here. Like we like to have fun too.
Yeah, you guys are
Yeah.
fairly like
like we're literally so
makes
close.
sense.
Yeah, Sarah and you and I have to meet up here, but
Yes.
we also have to get the band together all on
100%.
one coast or the other for like a remote special episode that we
Mhm.
record in the park, right?
Yes.
so much
Well,
fun,
one of
yeah.
these days, I think we all got to head over to Abu Dhabi. Like, I think we're gonna need a full tour.
I got family we can stay
She's
with.
got
so-
family. Sarah's got family there.
Let's go.
Well, in that case-
Yeah.
Let's go.
We'll go international. That sounds like the third in a series of movies.
Rat Castle International. There we
Yeah.
go.
To finish up about the news this week, we have very quickly, we will go over this one, but it seems big enough that people really care about it, and that is that Kingdom Hearts 4 has been announced, and there's very little we know about it. There's a sort of a trailer that was let out that sort of shows the character designs feeling a little more realistic. But I believe, Dave, you've played it. Jeanine, you said you played some Kingdom Hearts. Or
I
your
have
son's playing?
not really played it, but my 9-year-old picked it up
Okay.
recently.
And sorry,
and
you don't play.
Not forever.
Okay,
It's been
but
a
you
long
had some
time.
experience. I have no
Yeah.
experience.
My husband has played all of them, and I am not an RPG fan, so I have basically been an audience because it is actually a really entertaining game to watch, and the story is bonkers.
Yeah,
it's
it's like-
completely weird.
Mhm.
Weird acid
It's
trip of a dream.
Like it's not a game that you can just like drift in and be like, what
No.
you doing?
No,
He tries to explain to me what's happening, and I'm like, does that make
Yeah.
sense to you?
Well, and
Yeah.
it's like a series that you have to get the DLC to understand
Yeah.
everything.
Oh,
which is so
really? I
strange.
didn't know
Like,
that.
Yeah, it's just like
pretty much. But like it's you know it's about the dark part of everyone's heart contains these enemies called the Heartless, and you have to battle the Heartless. There's usually one big baddie. There's like multiple Disney villains that are baddies that lead up to the big baddie of each story, and they're in these alternate universes that each of those universes represent one of the sets of Disney characters or movie, and yet there's this character that hops along through those with Mickey and Goofy and Donald. His name is Sora, and he's got this big blade, this big weapon that looks like a key that unlocks some of these locations. It's beautiful to look at, and if you're not a gamer, it is worth. There's plenty of like playthroughs on YouTube, and there's even like just some basically supercuts of all the story scenes, so you can watch it like a movie. And if you're a Disney fan, the way it adapted, because remember, these started as for a Japanese audience mainly,
yes.
and they've got a very anime
Square Enix,
Japanese
right?
Square Enix, right? They've got a very anime sensibility to them. So if you're an anime fan and a Disney fan and you haven't perchance played this, which is unlikely because the fans of it are very rabid and crossover into anime fans pretty heavily. If you're interested at all in sort of a Japanese take and an anime take on what the Disney characters and stories mean, they're really fascinating. And I will not be playing the new one, but I will absolutely be watching it.
And we may get some Marvel or Star Wars in this next one because we've had these licenses. I know Disney's been very particular about how their licensees are used in the IP and who Mickey can interact with and stuff from what I've heard. But it'll be interesting to say the least.
Yep.
Well, with that, let's head on over to the mailbag. Ooh, it's so big, lots of mail. And if you would like to send us mail, you can always do so. You just head on over to bit.ly/ratcastle, and there's an area where you can send us a message. It has a character limit, but you can send more than one if you need to, and it'll get to us just fine. Dave, we have a friend of yours, I believe, who has a message. Let's give us a read, Dave. What's this message?
Oh my God. This is from a dear friend of mine. They say, "Dearest Uncle Dave," because they call me Uncle Dave, which is adorable. "Dearest Uncle Dave and fellow rats, I've listened from episode 1 and absolutely love the show. The conversational tone feels as though I'm sitting with my loveliest friends, spilling tea and dishing just desserts one may deserve. onto my, which is true. That's exactly the vibe we're going for. So thank you for that. Anybody who vibes on that level is exactly what we're going for here. On to my question. If each of you could choose a single attraction to bulldoze in any theme park, what would it be and why? Best wishes and warmest regards, Jean Grey, my friend Jean. Jean is an amazing human. I took them on their first trip to Galaxy's Edge last year, and they are massive Star Wars fans, and I got to watch them build their lightsaber and cry because of it. And we had like one of the best days I've ever had in a park, just because they are the kind of person that absolutely leans forward in those situations and becomes 100% part of the story. So Jean, I love you, and you're a great person, and you are a joy to go to the theme parks with. So thank you for this question. She says, Jean says, P.S. I wish to formally reserve the title of Rat Queen instead of Rat Bastard. Absolutely. Sure. All yours. All yours.
Queens
all yours.
are welcome here.
All queens are welcome. You are the Rat Queen. So please get that tattooed somewhere, and I approve. All right. Did we do this where we chose to bulldoze something?
I think it was more like a full
chose to replace
or full park or anything.
Yeah.
And I think
bulldoze?
it was limited to Disney, and
Mm-hmm.
this one is any theme park.
Any theme
So
park.
horizons have been broadened a little bit.
Yeah, it might have been Resurrecting, if I remember correct, the last one.
No, because I remember talking about wanting to kill the Hall of Presidents, and then you asked me to kill the one thing in Disney
did.
at Epcot for
That's
you.
true.
That I don't remember. It was in France.
The sing along, yes. Beauty and the Beast.
So this is any theme park. Any theme park.
I know mine.
What's that?
Sarah?
It's always going to be in Tomorrowland. I would like to bulldoze the Nemo submarine voyage. It's got to go. It's got to go.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't like that ride. It is very stuffy, very hot, very sweaty and gross. Like, it is a disgusting ride. Even in California, it is just not. It's not it. And
I view that in a whole new light in the COVID era.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Imagine being in there, breathing everybody's air.
Gross.
No.
I second that. It's that I would basically pile onto that signature.
But I want to keep the lagoon.
Yeah,
So
the
I don't know how
lagoon's
to do
really
that.
cool. I like
but
the
it's
lagoon.
it's such a waste of land, though.
I know,
waste of
but I
land.
love how it looks at night. It's so beautiful.
True.
So
I think the
don't know.
compromise would be, can we get rid of it, get a better attraction or 2 or 3, which is literally what they could put in that space. Take out Autopia while you're at it.
Yes.
And yet also have giant water features and beautiful light. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Oh God, I don't like to yuck anyone's yum, really. Like every single attraction has like someone who's like, yeah, I love that.
What about Fast and Furious Supercharge?
No, that's it.
That's gotta go.
I even talked about this recently. Did we talk about it? Was it you and me?
Yeah.
And Desmond was saying like, I've never been on that. And we were like, no, you definitely did go on that. And that's part of the reason why it should be destroyed.
Yeah. When a child cannot remember a very expensive ride, well, not super expensive, but
Which may be half the issue.
not great.
Oh, I know what mine would be.
Okay.
Mine would be, and this would be in all parks except Shanghai Disneyland, get rid of Buzz Lightyear Space Rangers.
Yeah, it's good. That's good.
I think it's run its course. I think there are better examples of
Everyone
interactivity.
hates it but me.
Yep.
I know, but the reason
Nathan and Sarah's heads are both like nodding in unison.
Because it's that ride is the epitome of sticky. Like it really is. That's the best. That's the best way to describe that ride. It's just so gross whenever I step into it.
Yeah, it's sticky.
Yeah.
But the when I rode the Shanghai one, I changed my opinion about it because they literally created a whole new game system to do it. It's really fast and snappy, and the gameplay is better, and the visuals are better. That technology was applied to a not as good version, the Ant-Man versus the Wasp interactive shooter in Hong Kong, which is not great.
Pretty mad.
But if it unless they're going to upgrade the game tech at the one stateside, I don't think it's worth keeping. I think it's run its course, and people are going to hate me for that because of I did Men in Black and isn't it the same? And I'm like, it's not the same at all. They're very different, especially with the Lightyear movie coming out. Like they
100%.
they have a chance for a better representation of that brand in the park. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm done.
I have said Hall of Presidents before. I will always say Hall of Presidents anytime you give me a chance because I'm a socialist. But beyond that, I think I'm going to go with Mission Space. Mission Space is not great.
Yeah,
And
the building is so beautiful.
It's a very beautiful building, but it sucks as a ride. And this is
That
why
ride gave me a panic attack. I couldn't do it.
Yep, I hate it. And I'm not even a
Green's
claustrophobic
not
by
so
nature.
bad, but I think it falls still in the. I think it really does fall in the same line as the submarine voyage. I think it's a really tiny ass place to put your body in, and it's definitely an experience. I'm not suggesting it's not, but it is. If you do the actual, the full ride, it is pretty intense.
I'm
especially
kind
for
of scared that my kid has some undiagnosed heart defect and that ride is going to kill him.
When your ride can cause a
it's-
brain aneurysm, it says something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which it has.
On a hot
it's very
day.
polarizing. Yeah, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It has a
if you
play
eat
place
food
in it
and-
though, which is cool.
It does
for kids.
at post
And the
queue,
game at the
or
end
post
is
room.
fun. I liked that game.
Yeah,
Nobody plays it anymore.
I like the aesthetics. I like everything about it.
The ride
I
itself.
need it, but when Lightyear the teaser first came out, I thought, that's the ride. If you're gonna, that's a space where you could do some sort of Lightyear thing. But I also think space is now kind of covered weirdly by Cosmic Rewind. Like it's not the same thing. Don't get me wrong. But we've kind of given up the ghost over on that end about like being real anyway. If you're gonna have the fun pavilion or the play pavilion, and Test Track is like not real either. So. Mission Space is kind of weird and so you either need to retheme it to Lightyear or you can retheme it to the Harland Williams featured Rocket Man, which Disney put out in I believe 2002, which is I don't think it's a good movie, but it's a great movie if you know what I mean. So
specific.
yes, Disney Plus does not have Rocket Man yet. Hashtag Rocket Man on Disney Plus.
Oh wait, I had two more.
Go ahead. Go
Three
ahead.
more.
You're very excited.
No, because this made me so upset when Paradise Pier was being rethemed and redone or whatever. I really, really, really wanted them to include the area where the Golden Zephyr and the Goldfish rides are, and the entire Paradise Garden Grill. I wanted that whole area to become Pixar because now it just looks really dumb, having it there. And I wanted them so bad to put the Coco ride in that area,
Makes sense now.
a dark Coco ride. Imagine
1,000 times yes,
That's what I
1,000
was
times yes.
saying. Instead of the jumping jellyfish and the Golden Zephyr, they should have just got rid of that. That's a whole space that could have been utilized. Maybe
Get rid of Goofy Sky.
Yeah.
Get rid of Goosey Sky School while you're at it.
Yeah, because Goofy Sky School was just a headache. But that whole area just needed to go. And they would have made a huge indoor dark ride for Coco. That's what I wanted. And it would have fit so well with the Pixar Pier theme. But it just made me so upset they didn't expand it all the way through.
True.
So that's my final one.
As we promised on a previous episode, we are also going to read 5-star reviews from iTunes. So please leave a 5-star review. We have 3 today. One is from, I believe it's either going to be Lee or Leah. So it's either Lee or Leah 1977. And she says, honest and wonderful discussion about Disney. Thank you for putting out a show that honestly covers the facts with a diverse group. Love all the points of view. Keep it up. So thank you so much. Coaster Matt gives us 5 stars and says, absolutely a blast. This is a great group of people having fun talking about fun places. Why do so many people that love these places seem to hate everything about them? This is not for kids, and that's cool to listen. Tell all of your like-minded friends to listen too. So thank you so much, Coaster Matt. And then finally,
awesome.
J Cobalt 2012 says, well, hello, I really like this. Great group of people, fun topics. I'm here for it. So great. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. You can always leave a 5-star review and rate us on iTunes. That helps us get the word out, things of that nature. And with that, let me finish up by saying Rat Castle is produced by yours truly, Nathan Hartman. Please consider subscribing on iTunes or Spotify, or you can find us anywhere. And if you don't find us on your preferred podcatcher, please let us know. And you can send us questions or feedback or see all our links at bit.ly/ratcastle. And with that, please grab your belongings and exit to the left.
characters would you like to see?
Will you get out of here?